a state like Florida, one of the states most susceptible to rising sea levels and to climate chaos, what is DeSantis doing for the future of Florida? In fact, a lot to move it in the opposite direction and make sure it is completely unprepared, nor is taking any steps to mitigate the impact of climate change. So actually, according to Food and Water Watch, they called DeSantis in Florida the most extreme energy preemption bills in the nation signed last year. The bills ban Florida cities and towns from adopting 100% clean energy goals, reasoning that those goals would discriminate against fossil fuels. Oh, dude, CRT has come for our energy policy, so we can't discriminate against fossil fuels. So effectively, no fossil fuels, no alternatives to fossil fuels in this state. Cool. All right, well, let's talk about what else he's doing to turn that around. To that effect, he's looking at the pension policy. So the second policy came a month ago when DeSantis adopted measures to ban the state's $186 billion pension fund from making investment decisions that consider climate change. DeSantis did this because he says such decisions constitute an ideological agenda. Sure, but being for fossil fuels, that's not ideological, right? Just like if you're, pro-white or let's say a white supremacist, that's not ideological, that's just normal. But if you talk about equity or diversity, you've got a political agenda. I mean, this is how rotten Republicans' brains are, that they consider climate to be in the same category as like, I don't know, some kind of, again, like anti-woke level of discussion. This is why we can't have anything nice. I want to continue a little bit before I jump to you, Yasmin, because it's not for lack of trying. The federal government is trying to help states like Florida under specifically the Inflation Reduction Act. And what has DeSantis done? Rejected the money. In fact, he just rejected a bunch of money. So let's get into, he used a line item veto in June, just this summer, to reject a $5 million federal grant to set up rebate programs for Floridians to retrofit their homes with energy efficient appliances. This in turn meant that Florida couldn't access the $341 million from the Inflation Reduction Act allotted to fund the program. The Sunshine State has until August 2024 to reapply for the money. My guess is they won't. He also, however, rejected an additional $3 million from the same IRA funds to help fight pollution, as well as the Solar for All program that helps low-income people get solar panels. Yeah, that must be woke somehow. The IRA is a major part of Biden's overall climate agenda, and obviously, as we all know, the largest investment to address climate change in US history. My favorite part of this is that other states are looking at Florida and going like, oh, you're not gonna finish that? Could I have your piece? So other states are eager to take the money that Florida has rejected. Senator Jack Reed of Rhode Island has asked the Energy Department to send Florida's money to his and other states. Rhode Island, quote, could utilize additional funds that Florida's governor may not accept for purely partisan reasons, Reed wrote to the Energy Department. Yasmin, we're seeing the same thing that we saw under Obamacare, where expansion of Medicaid was covered and is covered up to 90% by the federal government, and red states, purely because this was an Obama policy, rejected getting free money so that the poorest people in their states could have healthcare. Same thing with climate preparedness or any kind of alternatives to fossil fuels.
Oh my God, there was so much in that segment that I kind of don't even know where to start. Like, Florida is impressive. I thought Texas was bad with all the fossil fuels and the energy and all the whatever. Florida might have us beat, don't quote me on that, but it's pretty bad over there. And I also like the choice of words that he used, that it was discrimination against fossil fuels to use things like solar panels or to even look for alternative energy sources. In Texas, whenever we had our polar vortex, that was like very much caused by our state government. They blamed it on windmills, so that's what we're dealing with here. And it's very hard to take any of these talking points seriously, right? They really don't have the data to back up their claims that it's a hoax, that it's not, causing any kind of problems, things like that. And again, we are talking about Florida here. I have so many people that I know in Florida, and I know that they would love to have some kind of better, more efficient energy options in Florida. It's too hot in the South for people to live without air conditioning, right? I live in the South, it is too hot to function here. You need air conditioning. If you go outside, you can chew the air, it's so hot. And it's like unfathomable that somebody could want to lead a state like Florida and then decide that he doesn't want to discriminate against fossil fuels. It's right, also like economically, it doesn't even make sense.
Exactly. That is it. It's like, this is not a partisan issue, it's a pocketbook issue. I know that makes me sound like some sort of like political wonk, but that's exactly what it is. You're talking about ACs, guess what's more effective than that? Heat pumps, right? Heat pumps will save you massive amounts on your energy bills. Everyone wants to save, and Republicans especially want to save. That's their whole like that's all they are, is just, well, pay less in taxes, pay less, pay less, pay less. And yet they have their governors actively rejecting this money. And of course, the people who have the most amount of, like, rich people in Florida can pay for like their energy bills. It's the poor folks, it's low income people, it's people this would actually help that will be bearing the brunt of all the climate chaos that is coming for the state. But thankfully, it seems to have been a little lighter this time around, but it only gets more chaotic.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.